James Miller was tired. The single father had been juggling 2 jobs, cleaning floors in the morning and delivering packages in the evening, all while trying to raise his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. The small apartment they lived in was cluttered with toys, schoolbooks, and dishes left from breakfast. Lily was a bright and curious child, but she needed constant attention, and James simply could not give it. One evening, exhausted, he sat at the kitchen table scrolling through his phone. Maybe a babysitter would help, he muttered to himself. He typed out an ad quickly, asking for someone responsible, kind, and preferably available on short notice. He didn't expect anyone extraordinary, just a normal human babysitter who could make life a little easier. The next morning, as the sun dipped low in the sky, James was finishing his shift when he heard a strange hum outside. It was not the usual sound of cars or distant traffic. This was something else, something low, vibrating, and melodic. Curious, he walked to the window. What he saw made his heart stop. A small silver spacecraft hovered just above the empty lot across the street. Its surface shimmered, reflecting the orange and pink hues of the sunset. James blinked. "No way, what is that?" he whispered. Before he could process it, a door opened on the ship with a soft hiss. Out stepped a figure. At first, he thought she was human. She was tall, graceful, and had features that seemed almost too perfect to be real. But her silver hair and glowing eyes told him otherwise. She moved with a quiet confidence, her steps light yet deliberate, like someone who belonged in both the air and on the ground. Lily, playing near the window, squealed, "Daddy, look! She's so pretty!" James quickly pulled Lily behind him. "Stay back, Lily, don't go outside," he said firmly, though his voice trembled slightly. The alien woman stopped at the edge of the lot and bowed slightly. "Greetings, James Miller. My name is Elira," she said. Her voice was soft but carried a musical quality, almost hypnotic. "I am here to assist you in caring for your child." James froze. He wanted to ask questions to understand who or what she was, but he couldn't find words. Instead, he stepped outside cautiously. "Assist me, are you a babysitter?" Elira tilted her head, her glowing eyes scanning him carefully. "I am qualified in the study and care of human children," she said. Her gaze then softened as it shifted toward Lily, who was staring at Elira with wide, excited eyes. "And I wish to be helpful to your family." Suspicion and curiosity warred in James's mind. "Where did you come from?" he asked, his voice low. Elira smiled faintly. "From a place far beyond your world. My arrival may seem sudden, but I assure you my intentions are peaceful." Lily ran forward, ignoring her father's warnings. "Can I hug her, Daddy, please?" James looked into Elira's glowing eyes and hesitated. There was something in them, something gentle, calm, and trustworthy. Slowly, he nodded. Lily dashed forward and wrapped her arms around Elira. Elira crouched slightly and returned the hug, her touch surprisingly warm and comforting. James's heart ached. He had been so lonely, struggling with his responsibilities, and now here was someone extraordinary offering help. But fear remained. "Lily, stay close to me," he said, though part of him wanted to trust Elira completely. Elira straightened, brushing a strand of silver hair behind her ear. "Your child is remarkable," she said. "I can help her learn, play, and stay safe. And I can help you too." James swallowed hard. He wanted to believe her, wanted to accept the help he desperately needed, but questions filled his mind. How did she find me? What does she really want? Is she dangerous? A sudden noise startled them all. From the edge of the lot, a shadow shifted quickly, watching them. Elira's glowing eyes narrowed for a brief moment, though she said nothing. James felt a chill run down his spine. "Daddy?" Lily asked, clutching his hand. "Is she going to stay?" James looked at Elira, who smiled gently at him. There was a calmness in her that reassured him. Yet the mysterious shadow reminded him that things were not as simple as they seemed. "I think she might," James said slowly. "But we have to be careful." Elira inclined her head. "I understand. I will not force my presence. Only with your consent will I remain." James nodded, feeling both relief and unease. He had no idea that his life and Lily's was about to change in ways he could never imagine. That evening, as the sun disappeared below the horizon, the tiny family sat in the living room, with Elira gently helping Lily with her homework. James watched them, a mixture of wonder and fear swirling inside him. Somewhere beyond the city, Unseen eyes followed the new arrangement, and Elira's presence, bright and gentle as it seemed, had already begun to stir forces that James could not yet understand. The story had only just begun. The next morning, James woke to the sound of soft humming. At first he thought it was a passing vehicle outside, but then he realized the sound was coming from inside his apartment. He rubbed his eyes and peeked into the living room. There Elira was kneeling beside Lily, who was sitting on the carpet with her toys. The alien's hands glowed faintly as she touched Lily's arm, and the little girl laughed, completely calm. James froze. He had seen many strange things since Elira arrived, but this was different. Lily had been cranky all morning, refusing to eat breakfast, but now she was smiling and singing softly. How are you doing that?" James asked, stepping closer. Elira looked up, her glowing eyes meeting his. "I can sense her discomfort," she explained. "And I can ease it if you allow me." James shook his head, unsure. "Ease it, what does that mean?" "Relaxation, healing, emotional balance," she said. Her words were gentle but precise. She returned her focus to Lily, who clutched a small toy spaceship. James watched in awe as the little girl's breathing slowed. Her frown disappeared and her energy seemed lighter, happier. Lily looked up at him with bright eyes. "Daddy, Elira makes me feel so nice." She fixed my arm hurt. James glanced at Lily's small wrist. She had fallen yesterday while running in the yard and had a slight bruise. Now it was gone, the skin smooth and unmarked. His heart pounded. This is impossible," he whispered. Elira smiled faintly as if reading his thoughts. "I understand your concern. You may call it impossible, yet I assure you, no harm will come to her while I am here." James wanted to ask more questions, but Lily interrupted. "Can we play outside, Elira?" Elira stood, her movements fluid and graceful. "Of course. I will watch over you." James hesitated, then nodded. He followed them to the small yard behind the apartment. As soon as Lily ran, Elira extended her hand. A faint glow spread across the ground, and tiny flowers that were wilted in the sun sprouted in bright colors. Lily stopped, amazed. "Wow, look, Daddy!" "Flowers!" James blinked. "Okay. Now I'm officially freaked out," he muttered. Elira chuckled softly, a sound like wind chimes. "I understand your surprise, James, but I promise all I wish is to help." The day continued, and James noticed other strange things. When Lily tripped over a rock, Elira's hand hovered above her, and the toy she dropped floated gently into her arms. When Lily felt nervous during a loud thunderclap, Elira whispered softly, and the storm's sound seemed less frightening, almost distant. James realized something profound. Elira wasn't just babysitting. She was connecting with Lily's emotions, understanding her thoughts and fears before they were spoken, and she was patient, kind, and gentle in ways that no human babysitter had ever been. Yet James couldn't ignore the tension that lingered. He kept glancing around the yard, expecting someone or something to appear. Elira noticed his unease. "You fear for her safety," she said, "and I cannot deny there are dangers nearby. But as long as I am here, Lily is safe." James swallowed hard. He wanted to trust her completely, but he felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. I've never seen anyone like you," he said quietly. Elira's glowing eyes softened. "And I have never met humans like you and Lily. I am learning." Lily tugged at James's hand. "Daddy, can Elira stay forever?" she asked, looking up with hopeful eyes. James knelt beside her, unsure what to say. We'll see," he said. But part of him already knew he didn't want her to leave. There was a warmth in her presence, a strange comfort that made the hard days easier. As evening approached, James prepared dinner while Elira entertained Lily with stories of stars, planets, and faraway worlds. Lily's laughter filled the apartment, echoing off the walls and reminding James of simpler times before responsibilities weighed him down. But peace never lasts long. Outside the apartment window, a shadow moved. A figure lingered across the street, barely noticeable but watching closely. Elira's glowing eyes narrowed ever so slightly. She didn't speak of it, but James felt the change in the air, a silent warning that their newfound peace might be fragile. After dinner, Lily hugged Elira tightly. "Thank you for today, Elira." "You're the best babysitter ever," Elira smiled, brushing a silver strand of hair behind her ear. "You are welcome, Lily. Tomorrow will be another day of learning and fun." James watched the two, torn between awe and fear. He didn't know where Elira had come from, what her true purpose was, or what dangers were approaching. But one thing was clear: Lily adored her, and James felt an inexplicable trust growing for the alien who had changed their day in ways he could barely understand. And somewhere beyond the city, unseen eyes were still watching, noting Elira's presence, and silently plotting their next move. James had no idea that this was only the beginning, and that Elira's powers, mysterious as they were, would soon be tested in ways he could not imagine. The next morning, James awoke to the faint hum of Elira moving through the apartment. Lily was already awake, sitting cross-legged on the floor playing with a small set of blocks. Elira knelt beside her, her glowing eyes focused and gentle. James rubbed his tired eyes, still trying to adjust to the reality of the alien presence in his home. "Good morning," Elira said softly, turning to him. Her voice had a melodic quality that made even the dreariest morning feel lighter. "Morning," James replied, cautious but curious. He wanted answers, but he knew Elira would not volunteer everything at once. "Lily seems happy," he said, gesturing toward his daughter. "She is," Elira confirmed, "and she will continue to thrive with guidance and care." Her words were calm, yet there was an undertone James could not place, something serious lurking beneath the soft tone. James decided it was time to ask the questions he had been holding back. "Elira, I need to know the truth. Where are you from? Why are you here? And what exactly are you?" Elira looked at him for a long moment. Her glowing eyes seemed to pierce through his very thoughts, weighing his honesty and intent. "I am Elira of the Zorinthian people," she said finally. "We come from a planet far beyond your solar system. My mission on Earth is to study human family dynamics and the emotional bonds that tie you together." James frowned. "Study? So you're like a researcher?" "In a way," Elira admitted. "But my presence here is not simply observational. I am permitted to interact, guide, and protect when necessary. Your family, particularly your daughter, has drawn my attention in ways beyond my original mission." James's heart skipped. "Drawn your attention?" Elira nodded, her eyes softening. "Yes, humans like you are rare. You care deeply for Lily, often at great personal sacrifice. Your actions demonstrate qualities of courage, love, and resilience, qualities my people are studying." James stared at her, trying to process her words. The idea that he and his daughter were being observed by an alien visitor was overwhelming. Yet her tone was sincere, almost humble, and the warmth in her presence made it impossible for him to feel anger. Lily, sensing the tension, tugged at James's hand. "Daddy, is Elira going to stay?" "I like her." James knelt and hugged her. I hope so, sweetheart, but we have to understand her world first." Before he could ask more, Elira's eyes shifted toward the window. Her body tensed slightly, subtle but unmistakable. "There are others," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Observers from my world. Others who do not wish for my presence to continue unchecked." James felt a chill. "Observers, others? What do you mean?" "They are enforcement agents," Elira explained. "If my presence here is discovered or deemed a violation, they may attempt to remove me by force. It is unlikely they will harm humans, but you and Lily may be in danger if they perceive interference." James's mind raced. "Remove you by force? But why? I thought you said your mission was peaceful." "It is," Elira said, "but there are rules even my kind must follow. I am not allowed to alter human life unnecessarily, and forming personal bonds while unintended may be considered a breach of protocol." James sank into a chair, overwhelmed. His life had been hard enough, struggling to raise Lily alone, and now an alien visitor was telling him they might be in danger simply for wanting to help. "So, you're saying that just because you care about us, someone might come and take you away?" Elira nodded slowly. "Yes, my presence is a delicate matter. I did not choose to form this bond, but I will protect your family as best I can." James looked at her, the weight of responsibility heavy in his chest. He realized then that Elira's actions, her kindness, her strange powers, her willingness to help Lily, were more than extraordinary. They were courageous, and he couldn't imagine letting her leave even if it meant risk. "Elira," James said quietly, "I don't know what your rules are, or what your world thinks, but we need you. Lily needs you, and He hesitated, struggling to find words. I trust you. Elira's eyes glowed brighter for a moment, soft and warm. Trust is a human quality I am still learning to understand fully. But I accept your trust, James. Lily clapped her hands excitedly. Yay, you're staying, Elira. James smiled, though a knot remained in his stomach. They were safe for now, but danger lurked just beyond the horizon. The watchers Elira had mentioned were not far away. Someone, or something, was monitoring them, waiting for the perfect moment. As evening fell, Elira sat with James and Lily in the living room. She told stories of stars, distant planets, and the values of her people. James listened, fascinated, and slowly began to understand that Elira was not just an alien visitor. She was a teacher, a protector, and perhaps something more. Yet, even as the warmth of the moment filled the room, James could not shake the feeling that their world was about to change forever. Elira's secrets, her powers, and the observers from her planet were only the beginning. And somewhere in the shadows of the city, eyes watched, waiting for the right time to act. The bond between human and alien had begun, but it would soon be tested in ways no one could foresee. The night was quiet, almost too quiet. James had finished cleaning the dishes, and Lily was already tucked into bed, clutching her favorite stuffed animal. Elira stood by the window, gazing at the city below. Her glowing eyes scanned every shadow, every movement. James noticed the tension in her posture. Something wrong? He asked, trying to keep his voice calm. Elira turned to him. Yes, there are beings watching us, observers. They are close, perhaps closer than we expected. James's heart skipped a beat. Observers, you mean? The ones you told me about before? She nodded. They are here to ensure that I do not interfere with human life. If they discover that I am forming bonds with your family, they may act. James swallowed hard. Forming bonds? So they might take you away? Yes. And they may not consider your safety while doing so, Elira said softly, though her eyes glimmered with determination. We must be cautious. Before James could ask more, a sudden flash of light illuminated the apartment walls. Shadows moved outside, fast and deliberate. James's breath caught in his throat. They're here, Elira said, her voice firm. She extended her hands toward the window, and a faint glow spread across the glass. The shadows outside faltered, as if pushed back by an invisible force. James's mind raced. What do we do? Elira's glowing eyes met his. We protect your family. You stay here with Lily. I will handle them. Before James could protest, Elira moved to the front door. As soon as she stepped outside, the shadows revealed themselves. 3 humanoid figures clad in dark suits, their faces obscured by reflective helmets. They moved with precision, closing in on the apartment. Elira raised her hands, and a low hum filled the air. A barrier of shimmering energy formed around the apartment, deflecting the first attempts of the observers to enter. James watched in awe and fear. This was the alien power he had only glimpsed before, now fully revealed. The lead observer raised a device that emitted a piercing blue light. Elira countered, her own glow intensifying. The light struck her barrier, and sparks danced across the air, illuminating the night with an otherworldly glow. James backed away, holding the door to Lily's room closed. Lily, stay back. Don't come out! He shouted, his voice shaking. Lily's small voice answered from behind him. Daddy, was Elira okay? She's fine, James whispered, though fear gripped him. He couldn't see her clearly from the hallway, but he could hear the struggle outside, the clash of energy and movement. Elira's voice called out, calm and commanding. Leave this place. You will not harm them. The observers hesitated, their devices flickering. Elira's glow expanded, wrapping the apartment in a protective cocoon. James felt a vibration in the floor, a warning of the raw power she was exerting. Suddenly, the lead observer spoke in a distorted, mechanical voice. Elira, you are in violation. Surrender immediately. Elira shook her head. I will not surrender, not while this child is in danger. With a sudden burst of energy, Elira leaped from the ground, her movements faster than human eyes could follow. The observers scrambled, trying to adjust their devices, but she vanished from sight, reappearing behind them. One of the observers stumbled, his device sparking and fizzling. James watched, heart pounding, as Elira's glow filled the night. The air seemed to hum with power, and for a moment it was as if the city itself held its breath. Then, as quickly as it began, the fight ended. The observers retreated, their devices smoking and sparks flying. Elira returned to the apartment, her energy dimming slightly, her breathing steady but eyes still glowing faintly. James rushed to the window. "They're gone. For now?" he asked, voice trembling. "They are close," Elira said softly. "They will return if they discover more about us. We must remain vigilant." James nodded, feeling a mixture of awe and fear. He had always thought danger came in ordinary forms, accidents, crime, illness, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. Elira was powerful, yes, but so was the threat they now faced. Lily peeked from behind James. "Elira, did you scare them away?" Elira knelt to Lily's level, smiling gently. "Yes, little one. They will not harm you tonight, but we must be careful in the future." James placed a hand on Elira's shoulder. "I don't know how you do all of this." I don't even know what to say." "You don't need to say anything," Elira replied. "Actions speak louder than words, and you have shown courage. That is enough." James realized something in that moment. Elira wasn't just a babysitter. She was a protector, a teacher, and a guardian. And he knew that if they were to survive the dangers ahead, they would need each other more than ever. The night settled again, but the memory of flashing lights, glowing energy, and the hum of power lingered in James's mind. He knew that this was only the beginning and that their lives would never be the same. Outside, the shadows of the observers faded into the distance, silent but vigilant. And somewhere far beyond the city, other eyes watched, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. James closed the blinds, holding Lily close, and whispered a promise he hoped he could keep. "We'll stay safe. Together." The morning sun filtered through the thin curtains of James and Lily's apartment, painting the room in soft gold. James rubbed his eyes, still tired from the previous night's events, but something felt different. There was a quiet sense of calm, almost as if the house had taken a deep breath after the chaos. Lily was already awake, sitting cross-legged on the floor, and Elira sat beside her, guiding her hands as she carefully painted a small picture of a star-filled sky. "See, Lily," Elira said softly. "The stars are never too far away. You just need to look up." Lily's eyes sparkled. "They're so pretty. Like your hair, Elira." Elira smiled, brushing a silver strand behind her glowing eyes. "Thank you, little one. You are very kind." James watched from the doorway, his heart warming. Despite the dangers that surrounded them, despite the strange and unbelievable events of the previous night, one thing was undeniable. Elira had become part of their lives. Lily laughed and sang softly as she painted, completely relaxed in Elira's presence. It was then James noticed something. Lily had been complaining about a stomachache for the past 2 days, small but persistent. He had tried medicine and warm tea, but nothing seemed to help. Now Elira gently touched Lily's forehead with her glowing hand. The air around them shimmered slightly, and a warmth spread from Elira's hand into Lily's tiny body. "Lily, do you feel better?" James asked, voice hesitant. Lily opened her eyes wide. "Yes, my tummy doesn't hurt anymore. Elira fixed it." James took a step back, astonished. You healed her?" Elira looked at him calmly. "It is not just healing of the body, James. It is balance, emotional, physical, and energy. Your child needed comfort and strength. I provided it." James felt a mix of awe and disbelief. This wasn't just babysitting. Elira wasn't human, yet she cared. She was powerful, yet gentle. And most importantly, she was becoming part of their little family in a way he could never have imagined. Lily hugged Elira tightly. "You're the best." "I love you, Elira." Elira knelt down to her level, her glowing eyes soft and warm. "And I care for you, Lily, more than you know." James felt a lump in his throat. He had been alone for so long, struggling to provide for his daughter, and now here was someone extraordinary, someone who cared not out of obligation, but out of genuine feeling. He realized he trusted Elira completely, though fear still lingered in the corners of his mind. Later that afternoon, James decided to take a break from work and spend some time with Elira and Lily. They walked in the small park near the apartment, Elira guiding Lily's steps with a gentle hand. People passed by, glancing curiously at Elira, but she paid them no mind, focused entirely on Lily. James asked cautiously, "Elira, do you have family? Friends, people like us?" Elira paused, looking toward the horizon. "I come from a place far from here. My people live in a society that values learning and connection. But we are not like humans. We do not form family bonds the way you do. That is why this connection with you and Lily is so rare. James nodded slowly, understanding the depth of what she was saying. Halira had chosen to be with them, despite the rules of her world, despite the danger. She had risked everything to care for his daughter. They returned to the apartment as evening fell. Lily prepared for bed, but this time she did not cling to her stuffed animal for comfort alone. She reached for Elira's hand. "Will you stay with us tonight?" she asked softly. Elira nodded, sitting on the edge of Lily's bed. "Yes, little one. I will stay." James watched them, feeling a profound sense of gratitude and awe. For the first time in a long while, he felt hope. Hope that despite the difficulties of life, despite danger and uncertainty, love and care could cross worlds and species. But the night was not without its warnings. Outside, unseen and silent figures moved in the shadows. They had retreated the previous night, but now they watched again, studying Elira's energy patterns, tracking her every movement. The danger was not gone, it was only delayed. Elira sensed it too. She placed a hand on James's shoulder. "They are near, but you and Lily are safe with me. We will face whatever comes together." James nodded, holding back fear and embracing trust. He understood now that Elira was not just a protector. She was part of their family. Their bond had strengthened, uniting human courage with alien abilities, creating a connection that nothing could easily break. Lily yawned and snuggled under the covers, Elira sitting beside her like a silent guardian. James sat nearby, watching the two of them, and for the first time he felt that maybe, just maybe, their lives were beginning to change for the better. But outside, the watchers in the shadows whispered among themselves. Elira's presence was dangerous to their plans, and soon the fragile peace of James, Lily, and Elira would be tested in ways none of them could yet imagine. The bond between human and alien had grown strong, but the storm was coming. The night air was thick with tension. James sat in the living room, Lily curled up on the couch, and Elira stood by the window, her glowing eyes scanning the dark streets. They had enjoyed a quiet day, the calm of normalcy giving them a brief respite, but James knew better. Danger was never far when Elira was near. Suddenly, a faint hum reached their ears. James tensed, recognizing it immediately. "They're back," he whispered. His heart pounded as shadows appeared at the edges of the street, moving with precision and intent. Elira's glow intensified, a pale light spilling across the room. "Prepare yourself," she said quietly. "They have come to remove me, but I will not allow them to harm you or Lily." James swallowed hard, gripping the edge of the couch. "I don't care about me, just keep Lily safe," Elira smiled faintly. "We are stronger together than they expect." The doorbell rang, a sharp metallic tone that echoed through the apartment. James froze. "Don't answer it," Elira whispered, her glowing form radiating calm authority. But the bell rang again, louder this time, and the faint hum of energy pulses outside grew stronger. 3 figures stood at the entrance, clad in dark suits and helmets that reflected the dim streetlights. Their devices hummed ominously. James felt a chill run down his spine. These were the same observers from before, but now they were ready. Elira moved to the doorway, her hands glowing with energy. "You will leave peacefully or I will stop you," she warned. Her voice was calm yet filled with authority that demanded attention. The lead figure stepped forward, raising a device that emitted a high-pitched pulse. "Elira, you are in violation. Cease all interactions with these humans and surrender immediately." Elira shook her head. "I cannot. They are under my protection. Leave now or face consequences." James could barely breathe. He watched as the energy from Elira's hands expanded, forming a barrier that shimmered across the hallway. Sparks danced across the floor as the observers attempted to bypass it. Suddenly, a pulse of energy shot through the barrier, and the door shuddered. James grabbed Lily, pulling her back behind the couch. "Stay down," he shouted. Elira leapt forward, moving faster than human eyes could follow. Her glowing form was almost a blur as she disrupted the observers' devices with controlled bursts of energy. One of the figures stumbled, the pulse of Elira's light sending him crashing into a nearby wall. James felt fear and awe swirl together. This was beyond anything he had imagined. His babysitter, his daughter's friend, his family's protector, was not only extraordinary, she was unstoppable. But the observers adapted quickly. 2 of them combined their energy devices. sending a blue wave that collided with Elira's glow. The air crackled with tension as their powers clashed. James covered his eyes against the blinding light, fearing the worst. Then, in a sudden burst, Elira vanished from sight. The observers looked around frantically, scanning the area. A moment later, she reappeared behind them, her energy forming intricate patterns in the air. With a precise motion, the devices of the observers short-circuited, emitting sparks and smoke. James let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. She did it, he whispered, still gripping Lily tightly. Elira's glow dimmed slightly, but her stance remained firm. They will not return tonight, she said. But this confrontation is only the beginning. They will come again. James stepped forward, his chest tight with admiration and fear. I don't know how to thank you. You saved us. Elira's eyes softened. It is not I who saves you, James. Your courage, your care for Lily gives strength to us both. Together we are stronger than any threat. Lily peeked out from behind her father. Elira, you were amazing, she said, her voice full of awe and relief. Elira knelt, brushing Lily's hair behind her glowing eyes. And you were brave, little one. Never forget that courage comes in many forms. The night settled again, but the echoes of the confrontation lingered. James realized that their lives had changed forever. Elira was no longer just a visitor or a babysitter. She was part of their family, and together they had faced danger that no human could face alone. But outside, the shadows had not disappeared entirely. The observers had retreated for now, but their presence was a warning. They would return, stronger and more determined. James knew that survival would demand more courage, cleverness, and trust than ever before. He looked at Elira, her glowing form calm despite the chaos. Whatever comes next, he said quietly, we face it together. Elira's smile was soft but determined. Yes, James. Together we are unstoppable. The night air hummed with energy, and somewhere beyond the city, unseen eyes watched, noting every movement, every bond, every pulse of power. The storm of challenges had only just begun, and inside the apartment, human and alien shared a moment of peace, ready to face the coming battles side by side. The morning sun streamed through the apartment windows, casting warm light across the small living room. For the first time in weeks, James felt a sense of calm. The previous night's confrontation with the observers had left its mark, but Elira had proven herself not only powerful, but devoted. James glanced at his daughter Lily, who was busy drawing colorful pictures on the floor, humming happily. Elira sat beside her, quietly guiding her little hands, her glowing eyes soft with care. The bond between human and alien had grown strong in a matter of days, surpassing words, actions, or even fear. James watched them, a smile tugging at his lips. He realized that life as he knew it was gone, replaced by something extraordinary, something hopeful. I can't believe how brave she is, James whispered to Elira. Elira turned to him, her glowing eyes meeting his. Courage exists in all of you, James, but you must understand that the bond we share is rare, it is special, and it cannot be broken easily. James nodded, feeling the truth in her words. Elira had risked so much for them, and in return, they had begun to form a family that transcended worlds. Lily giggled, holding up a drawing of the three of them, a small human family with a silver-haired alien hovering above, smiling down. That's us, Lily exclaimed. You, me, and Elira. Forever family. Elira's smile was gentle. Forever, she echoed softly. James felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years. He had struggled to raise Lily alone, faced endless challenges, and yet now here they were, safe, connected, and stronger than ever. Elira's presence had changed everything. She was no longer just a babysitter. She was a teacher, a protector, and a guiding light. But James knew that peace was fragile. The observers from Elira's world still lurked beyond Earth, waiting for any misstep. The danger had not vanished. It had only paused, like a storm holding just beyond the horizon. Elira's gaze shifted to the horizon, her eyes glowing faintly. My world, my people. They watch always, and soon I may be called back, either to answer for my actions or to face challenges I cannot ignore. James felt a twinge of fear. Called back, but what about us? What about Lily? You are safe for now, Elira said calmly. And I will remain as long as I can. But there are forces I cannot control. We must prepare for what comes next. Despite the looming threat, James realized something important. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Human courage combined with alien abilities created a bond that could not easily be broken. He looked at Elira and Lily and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. That evening, the small apartment was filled with laughter. Lily played, James helped her, and Elira floated beside them, teaching the little girl new songs and stories of distant worlds. It was a simple life, yet it was extraordinary. As night fell, Elira stood by the window once more, looking at the stars. James approached her quietly. Do you ever miss your home? He asked. Elira nodded faintly. Yes, but I have learned something valuable here. Family is not only a matter of origin or species. It is a connection of hearts, a choice of care. You and Lily. You have become my family. James felt a lump in his throat. He had spent years longing for help, for connection, and now it had come in a way he could never have imagined. A silver-haired alien, brave and kind, had become part of their lives, and in return he had begun to feel love, trust, and hope again. Suddenly a faint glow appeared on Elira's wrist, a signal from her world. She glanced at it, her eyes narrowing slightly. They are sending a message, she whispered. It is not a threat yet, but soon it may be. James gripped her hand. Then we'll face it together. Lily crawled onto their laps, looking between them with wide eyes. Are we really a family now? She asked softly. Elira smiled, brushing a strand of silver hair behind Lily's ear. Yes, little one. No matter what happens, this bond is real. We are a family. James hugged both of them tightly. In that moment, he felt a surge of hope, knowing that love, courage, and trust could transcend worlds. Whatever came next, the observers, dangers from Elira's planet or challenges from Earth, they would face it together. Human heart and alien power united in an unbreakable bond, and somewhere beyond the stars, unseen eyes watched again. Elira's people noted the connections she had formed, the courage of the human father and the innocence of the child. They would decide her fate soon, but for now in the quiet apartment, laughter and love filled the air. For James, Lily, and Elira, the future was uncertain, but it was theirs to face. And one thing was clear. Their lives had been forever changed by an unexpected arrival, a babysitter who was far more than she seemed. The adventure had only just begun.